The man who hand-soldered the first Apple computer walked into a room full of students and told them the most impressive AI in the building wasn't on their phones. It was behind their eyes. And they cheered. Which is either very heartwarming, or a sign that students are desperately hungry for someone to tell them they matter. Possibly both. Steve Wozniak doesn't need credentials, but here they are anyway. In 1976, he built a machine that could actually compute by hand, with solder and stubbornness, and priced it at cost so his friends could have one. That machine became the Apple I. The personal computer. The ancestor of everything you're watching this on right now, in some deep and slightly eerie sense. So when the man who started all of this tells you that artificial intelligence is slightly overrated, that lands differently than if your coworker says it over lunch. This isn't technophobia dressed up in a flannel shirt. This is the engineer who built the temple standing at the door saying, "Don't forget there's something more interesting than the temple." Here's what AI is actually doing. It's pattern matching at extraordinary scale. Feed it a billion sentences and it learns to predict the next word really, really well. It finds the shape of language without understanding what language means. It's like a musician who can reproduce any melody they've ever heard, pitch perfect, but has never once felt something while playing. Your brain does something considerably weirder. You read 3 words and feel dread. You hear a song and remember a specific Tuesday from 2009 with uncanny precision. You can sit in a meeting, deeply bored, and simultaneously solve a problem you didn't know you had. That's not pattern matching. That's something neuroscience is still, very generously, calling a work in progress. The irony Wozniak is pointing at goes deep. We spent 50 years building machines to think for us, and now we're terrified they'll replace us, precisely because we forgot that thinking was the one thing we never actually had to outsource. The anxiety about AI is, in a strange way, a compliment to humans that we're far too distracted to accept. There's a long tradition of brilliant people underestimating the thing they built. The Wright brothers thought intercontinental flight was probably implausible. The inventors of SMS thought 160 characters was plenty for any human thought anyone would ever want to transmit. And somewhere, a very early AI researcher looked at a computer beating a chess grandmaster and thought, right, we've basically cracked intelligence. They had not. What Wozniak said isn't anti-technology. He still uses it, builds with it, loves it probably more fluently than most people alive. His point is directional. Curiosity. Judgment. Creativity. The ability to be wrong about something and actually care about it. These are not features that will ship in the next update. They are the substrate everything else runs on. So the next time you open a chatbot to write your email, summarize your meeting, or explain what you feel about your own job, pause for 1 second. Not to feel superior. Just to notice that the thing you're about to outsource is the only possession you own that gets stronger every single time you use it. Which makes it either your greatest asset, or the one thing you should be most careful about leaving on the table. Strip away the reverence and what remains is simple. The man who soldered the first personal computer isn't afraid of artificial intelligence, he's pointing past it. Pattern recognition scales. Curiosity compounds. We spent 50 years building machines to extend our thinking and then, somewhere along the way, convinced ourselves the extension was doing the thinking. The anxiety isn't unfounded. But it is, in a strange way, a compliment. It means we sense that something in us is worth competing with. That thread runs through all of it, the Apple I, the classroom speech, the whole 50-year arc. The most interesting intelligence in the room has always been the one capable of wondering whether it was interesting at all. What strikes us isn't Wozniak's optimism, it's how hard it is to actually hold on to. We outsource the email, then the summary, then the judgment call, and each one feels like efficiency rather than erosion. We don't think he's telling anyone to resist the tools. We think he's asking us to notice the moment we reach for them before we've even tried, when the reflex beats the curiosity. And that's where it gets genuinely uncomfortable. Because the question isn't whether AI will replace us. It's whether, one small delegation at a time, we're quietly replacing ourselves. And we'd really like to know, how would you even notice if that was already happening?